Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, 4 nerds by nerds, hanging out with this nerd.
Nerdarchy is Ted.
And today we delve back into Xanathar's Guide to Everything. This time we're looking at Paladin subclasses.
Jump down the description below where you can sign up for Nerdarchy the newsletter, get weekly gaming tips, as well as learn how to game with us.
And also, if by chance you haven't gotten your copy of Xanathar's Guide to Everything yet, you will find a link to Amazon down there. It is an affiliate link, helps support the channel. You can go grab your copy.
All right, so we're diving in. We're going to page 36. We're talking Paladins. It's that time.
So as always, you have the couple things that come beforehand. I think we got like an extra one this time. They've been going with three for the most part.
Three or four over the course of what's been there.
So we have personal goals, symbols, nemesis, and temptation.
Well, Paladins are known as these, bastions of goodness throughout the editions of D&D. And here is like, well, if these guys are so good, what can we do to, kind of torment them a little bit?
Well, it's a little bit of that. It's a little bit more of defining them and really getting into the nitty-gritty of the character and making them more real, I think is the real goal there.
So personal goals, you've got peace, revenge, duty, leadership, faith, glory, things that you would expect Paladins to typically have and deal with.
Well, maybe, I don't, revenge seems a little un-Paladin-like, but yeah.
Paladin of Vengeance. I mean, that's right in the player's handbook.
Yeah, but, if you're talking about your stereotypical Paladin from all the editions.
The previous editions, no, but within 5th, Paladin of Vengeance is what it is. Your oath is the vehicle through which you will right an ancient wrong.
I don't know.
So
I heard they can only be lawful good, though.
That's earlier editions.
Oh, damn it.
So, your symbol, is there something that defines your order, defines your oath? You want to?
Well, I think this is actually a personal symbol for your paladin is the idea what they're going with on this one.
So you've got a dragon, a clenched fist, an upraised open hand, a red heart, a black heart, or an unblinking eye.
The next thing is nemesis, and the idea that regardless of your ye old paladin, lawful good is the only way to go, or you're a little more ambiguous. The idea is you have powerful convictions, so you create and draw to you equally powerful enemies.
So this is one of those things that it becomes really cool to build this out because you get a foil or a rival now that you can insert into your game just by saying, I'm going to play a paladin. And it makes it that much more fun on the GM to be able to okay, well, now I've got a rival paladin who trained you but became an oathbreaker and holds you responsible.
Now, I will say the big difference between the other rivals in the other section of this book and this rival is this one literally does want to do you harm. The other one could just be at odds with you, disagree with you, not like you. This one probably wants to see your blood splattered all over the place and your soul destroyed.
So my thing about this one is, with everything else of all these cool extra charts, I would want this on my character sheet, and I know about it. If I make this paladin, I would want to have that part come later. I wouldn't want to know when I make my character who my nemesis is. I would want that to come out in game. So I'd be like, all right, Jim, you can pick or you can roll and go ahead and deal with that. And that's how I would want to.
Yeah, I mean, you could do it that way. It could be fun for you to work out in your backstory. Yeah, there's a couple different ways you could go about it. And, you're going to have to decide what's right for your game and your paladin.
So the last thing is the temptation. And you are so good, but you know what? There's that one thing that's your vice. And, it could be fury, pride, lust, envy, despair, or greed. Come on, these things are laden throughout, not only novels, but history as well.
Well, it adds more of a human element to your character, saying, you're not perfect, you have flaws, you have things that can tempt you. You're at the end of the day, a paladin is just like everybody else and puts his pants on one leg at a time.
That gets you these things that help build up your character, make you more defined, help you understand who exactly you are as a paladin.
So with that, we're going to go into the subclasses, and we're going to go with Oath of Conquest.
All right. So as always, we kind of did our homework to do the compare and contrast for what was in the previously released Unearthed Arcanas versus what's actually the final version.
Now, with Paladin, we actually have to do a little bit more than we normally do. A lot of times there's just like, okay, this is kind of an overview of what it is. But with the Paladin, I think it's going to be important for us to also mention their tenets as well. But, as far as what it is, the Oath of Conquest is they're an Iron Fist tyrant. And even if you kind of believe in the betterment and you're doing everything for the greater good, the way you go about it is through tyranny, pretty much. And the other version of this, and it even kind of calls it out, is that one of the archdevils actually has his own contingencies.
The Hell Knight
of these guys, the Hell Knights, the Archdevil Bell, and other Oath of Conquest paladins don't like these guys either. The Hell Knight just sounds so freaking cool.
So the cool thing about them is, the strength above all. You shall rule until a stronger one arises. Then you must grow mightier and meet the challenge, or fall to your own ruin.
Oh, we're not going in order. Okay. There's also a rule of an Iron Fist. Once you have conquered, tolerate no dissent. Your word is law. Those who obey it shall be favored. Those who defy it shall be punished as an example of all who might follow.
And we also have douse the flame of hope. It is not enough to merely defeat an enemy in battle. Your victory must be so overwhelming that your enemy's will to fight is shattered forever. A blade can end in life. Fear can end an empire.
The thing about this subclass of Paladin, this Oath of Paladin, nothing screams good guy. Nothing says if you're playing heroes, someone should play this. It's cool and it's thematic, but I don't feel like this belongs in every game.
This takes work to be able to play to play this type of character in a typical D&D game and have everyone be happy hunky dory with it.
Literally, there's only one way to play this character. In one sense, it's very one-dimensional. I'm in charge, you're not. So that, right away, unless the rest of the party falls in line, it could be an issue. But, that's for you to decide in your game.
Absolutely. So let's get into what does the Oath of Conquest get. So, third level, you wind up getting spells. You get Armor of Agathes, Command, Hold Person, Spiritual Weapon, Bestow Curse, Fear, Dominate Beast, Stone Skin, Cloud Kill, and Dominate Person. These are your Oath of Conquest spells. And when you actually look at what they originally had, it's the same, except at 13th level, you actually used to get Blight instead of Stone Skin. And at 17th, when you get Cloud Kill, it used to be Insect Plague.
So very much the spells that you're getting now speak to, you're a bastion of personal strength and you're a beast in combat, or you just do what I say.
So, when you talk about, Cloud Kill, that is just mass destruction on the battlefield. The other things are, as you said, it boosts you up or just makes you utterly terrifying.
I pretty much feel like they reinforce what was there. So going into our channel divinities, we have Conquering Presence. You can use your channel divinity to exude a terrifying presence. As an action, you force each creature of your choice that you can see within 30 feet of you to make a wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, a creature becomes frightened of you for 1 minute. The frightened creature can repeat this saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect on itself on a success. This one's really important. Coming in future abilities, it really ties in. Then we have Guided Strike. So Guided Strike is essentially the same thing the War Cleric gets. You make an attack roll before it's determined whether you hit or miss. You can be like, I think it's close.
I'm gonna take 10.
I'm gonna add 10 to that roll, and you can do that. They're both really strong abilities.
Guided Strike, absolutely the same. They got it before, word for word. I think it's there. Your Conquering Presence used to actually be called Conquering Strike. When you hit someone with an attack roll, you could cause them to become afraid of you for a minute, as opposed to Anyone within 30 feet.
So
it got better.
It got a lot stronger. Like, you might be, oh, but I got to do damage before. But no, it got a lot better, especially when we get to our Aura of Conquest. Because that's the next ability, and starting at 7th level, you constantly emanate a menacing aura while you're not incapacitated. The aura extends 10 feet from you in every direction, but not through total cover. If a creature is frightened of you, its speed is reduced to 0 while in that aura, and the creature takes psychic damage equal to half your paladin level if it starts its turn there. At 18th level, the range of the aura increases to 30 feet. That is so powerful with that channel divinity ability. And not only that, if you then are, then I would be encouraged to cast spells as a paladin, which I never am encouraged to do. But like, if you can fear people, nice.
So this is a totally revised ability and so much better than what it used to be before. It used to be they had disadvantage on saves versus fear.
Which, I mean, is useful and cool, but not as cool as this in thematic, and this is strong.
They're literally cowering because they're unable to move. They're wetting themselves and taking psychic damage. That's what happens when you make them afraid of you.
Pretty much.
Like, I'm sorry, like, oh no, they got disadvantage. So much better now.
So, Scornful Rebuke, starting at 15th level. Those who dare to strike you are psychically punished for their audacity. Whenever a creature hits you with an attack, the creature takes psychic damage equal to your charisma modifier, minimum of 1, if you're not incapacitated.
Utterly different ability before. You used to have Implacable Spirit, you were immune to charm. Literally something completely different.
So far, like, there's a theme. Make people afraid of you, and then punish them for just just being around you, pretty much.
So then we go to 20th level, the Invincible Conqueror. You gain the ability to harness extraordinary martial prowess as an action. You can magically become an avatar of conquest, gaining the following benefits. You resist all, for a minute, you resist all damage. When you take the attack action, you get an additional attack as part of that, and you get a crit range of 19 to 20.
So, all in all, this is just a really strong subclass. That last ability is the same, right?
That last ability is word for word exactly the same.
You know, I feel like Scornful Rebuke is a little bit weak because that little bit of damage isn't going to make that much of a difference. But when you put everything together, this is a really strong character build. My only issue with this one is it's not one that I think is going to find a home in a lot of our games, or it's going to be really tough to make this character mesh with the rest of the party if you want to play a heroic game.
Right, because it just doesn't have that heroic vibe to it. So then we go into the Oath of Redemption.
These guys are really cool and interesting, and in some ways it makes me think of the Knights of the Cross from Dresden Files, and how they regard everyone, really, but it's in particular the Denarians, or the Knights of Denarian, or whatever the order is called. I don't remember off the top of my head. But the idea is, no one is beyond reproach or non-redeemable, and they're trying to not only stop evil but convert it back to good.
So their tenets are peace, innocence, patience, and wisdom. Not as
exciting,
not as exciting as strength above all.
Or in your face. That being said, like, they're kind of pacifists when it comes to being paladins. They will fight if they have to, but they're not idiots. Like, they know fiends and undeads, and some creatures are just inherently evil and beyond redeemability.
They're much less of a pacifist than what they used to be, though.
So that takes us to the features, and we get our spells. We got Sanctuary, Sleep, Calm Emotions, Hold Person, Counterspell, Hypnotic Pattern, Luke's Resilient Fear, Stone Skin, Hold Monster, Wall Force. It's all about, like, keeping people from hurting each other.
So at 3rd level, you used to get Shield. You now get Sanctuary instead. And at 5th level, when you get Calm Emotions, you used to get Ray of Enfeeblement. I think, they made them as less powerful choices. Shield, I don't have too much of a problem with. Ray of Enfeeblement seems very offensive in comparison to Calm Emotions. So I think overall they're good choices. But I think some people are going to be sad to lose Shield.
I would think so. So getting into the channel divinity, We have Emissary of Peace. You can use your channel divinity to augment your presence with divine power. As a bonus action, you grant yourself a +5 bonus to charisma persuasion checks for the next 10 minutes. We also have Rebuke the Violent. You can use your channel divinity to rebuke those who use violence. Immediately after the attacker within 30 feet of you deals damage with an attack against a creature other than you. Apparently that's okay. You can use your reaction to force the attacker to make a wisdom saving throw. On a failed saving throw, the attacker takes radiant damage equal to the damage you just dealt. On a successful save, it takes half the damage. So it's going to get punished for it.
So the Emissary of Peace, exactly the same. Rebuke the Violent is the same, except it used to be within 10 feet. It's now 30. So you get more range on it.
I think that was one of the things we kind of bitched about and complained about, like in our initial review of them as well. 30 feet makes a lot more sense.
I mean, that covers most of a combat.
Now, I believe there were some third level abilities that were there before that aren't there now.
This is ridiculous. They literally stripped 2 full abilities from this subclass. You used to have Warrior of Reconciliation, which just translated to, hey, I can choose to do subdual damage instead of, lethal damage when you're attacking things. Considering what 5th edition does,
you already can do that.
You already can do that, so it really wasn't all that worthwhile to put in there as this is a class ability. And then they also had this ridiculous ability, Armor of Peace. You had a armor class set to 16 plus your dexterity modifier if you're not wearing any armor. Really, where is this coming from? Are you magically cloaked in powers?
I am surrounded with so much peace you can't even get through it with your sword. It didn't bother me that they got it before, but it's gone. It doesn't bother me that it's gone either, though he can wear full plate.
Right.
I guess thematically, they see this guy walking around not bedecked in armor.
Yeah, it's supposed to be I'm going to wear, simple clothes and I'm going to go out here and I'm going to do this. And before you wouldn't have gotten wrecked. Now you do.
Either way, I was fine, I guess, with that one. So that brings us to their aura of the Guardian. Starting at 7th level, you can shield others from harm at the cost of your own health. When a creature within 10 feet of you takes damage, you can use your reaction to magically take the damage instead of that creature taking it. This feature doesn't transfer any other effects that might accompany the damage. This damage can't be reduced in any way. 18th level goes out to 30 feet, like all the R's, though.
So, previously, the bump at 18th level didn't exist. It stayed at the 10 feet, and everything else is the same.
And so, essentially, it's only verse one attack anyway because it requires a reaction.
So, we move on to Protective Spirit at 15th level. Your holy presence mends your wounds in battle. Essentially, if you start your turn in combat and you're at half hit points or less, you heal a die 6 plus half your paladin level as long as you're not incapacitated. Not bad. You get some free healing out of it. Makes sense since you're constantly taking on the wounds of other people. Exactly the same as before.
Yeah, it's going to make your aura of the Guardian much stronger, much more useful. So you can kind of be behind some of the party members, eat the damage, and heal at the same time. Use your lay on hands, whatever it takes. But it just gives you another option to be the peace bringer. So then we have Emissary of Redemption. So at 20th level, gives you 2 benefits. You have resistance to all damage dealt by other creatures, their attacks, spells, and other effects. And the other thing is, whenever a creature hits you with an attack, it takes radiant damage equal to half the damage you take from the attack. If you attack a creature, cast a spell on it, or deal damage to it by any means, but this feature, neither benefit works against the creature until you finish a long rest. So this is always on, is what I'm reading.
That's exactly, that's the point I was going to get at. All of the other paladin abilities is, hey, as an action, you can become the avatar for a short duration. This is, no, you literally become the avatar of peace. These things are on all the time. You've saved up all of your credits and you've turned it in at 20th level. Okay, I'm it.
It kind of makes your other abilities not suck.
So here's where it is all right, I'm the kind of paladin. I'm going to use my spells, and I'm going to be the heal bot. I'm going to not affect the bad guys in any way, shape, or form. I'm going to suck up damage. I'm going to regenerate. I'm going to heal. I'm not going to fight. It's very interesting build for a paladin. I think it's a cool 20th level thing to be able to, come in there and be like, yeah, I'm not going to smite a single guy. I'm not even going to carry a weapon.
Well, the thing that I find a little bit weird is the fact that you can just reduce all damage by half. But I take it does not work against the damage you receive at 7th level.
Correct.
Because that calls out, no means will you reduce it. I almost feel like they should have just let him reduce it, just because that's all this guy really does.
I kind of would want to go there as well. It's like, all right, I'm shielding everyone with my piece, and
From that one attack.
Yeah. Per round.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's still nice.
So that would be my only complaint if this is the type of character you wanted to play.
And just like the other stuff, there's no change in this. It's exactly as it was in the Unearthed Arcana. So overall, it got a couple abilities that got bumped up a little bit in range. It lost 2 abilities. So if you really care about the, I don't wear armor aspect of this, you took a massive hit. Other than that, there's not a big change in this class's abilities.
And now we come to the part where I think we're going to face our greatest adversary yet.
All right, so we've typically been taking these subclasses and say, all right, now how do we vilify them?
Yeah, how do you flip them on the head and make them villains?
Okay, well,
Paladin of Conquest, that's easy. Like, you make him a good guy, right?
So taking him as is straight out of the book, well, that's a bad guy as he's built, so you don't need to do anything. He's there to conquest. He's there to take you over. He's leading an army against you personally. All right, great. Work done. Now the hard part.
Yeah. So the first one, like you said, it's really easy. He's just a tyrant. Like, he could be serving someone above him, waiting, buying his time to get more powerful and take him down. Or he could be that someone at this point. The only difference is, I would say, is he doesn't have to be evil, but he could be.
Right.
You could go from the angle of, no, he just feels like the best way to keep everyone safe and make the world a better place is by him ruling it, and everyone just do what he says. I often feel this way too, to be honest with you. If everyone would just shut up and do what I said, it would be so much better. But yeah, so that one is pretty cut and dry. It's just like, what is his ultimate motive is the only thing. It's just the way he goes about it is, no matter what, he's a jerk.
So the second concept, the Oath of Redemption, I wouldn't want to take the role-playing concept and carry that over into a bad guy. I'd take like the suite of abilities, and you could have a shaman or a warrior that is literally throwing up wards and sigils to protect his own people, so that it's not about trying to convince the good guys that, we need to turn away from violence and we need to do that. It's about taking those abilities and doing a DM twist on them so that you can use those kind of things in a combat.
But why would you don't really need to. Like, literally, from the example you used, you could keep him the same, and your players are just at odds with his people. So he would be doing all the things you're talking about. And in their view, they're the good guys, and you're the ones that are the bad guys. And he might be trying to convince you the whole time to lay down your arms, we'll give you fair treatment, but the whole time he's bolstering his allies and taking on the wounds.
You could absolutely go that way. You could take it where, perhaps the world has seen too much combat. Perhaps adventurers in this area are frowned upon. They don't want people openly carrying weapons in their town. And when people come at odds, you've got somebody who's carrying no weapon. He might have his shield to get that armor class boost. He's not looking to actually go and attack, and he's using his spells, only on his people to strengthen them. And
unless he's 20th level, he just walks around in his robes. I'm not going to hit me. I'm going to take half damage either way, and then you're going to take it too.
So, you can do all of that kind of stuff if you would. I just, to me, I've been down that road before, so I would want to do something different. So that's what I said, I would just twist it, and you have that guy who, for whatever reason, he doesn't do the physical violence. So you're still getting within the mechanics of what's been created, and he's the buff, he's the healer, he's the guy that's making the actual fighters in his group last longer.
I would actually use him like a nuisance character or a rival, where he's taken a shine to one of the players and has decided to help them and follows them around, trying to convince them, of not, of the how much harm they're doing to themselves. Even so much so, he uses a reaction every time to lessen one of their attacks against someone else, trying so desperately hard to be a soothing balm upon the soul of this poor, unfortunate individual who's so misguided.
The second that you started going into this, I knew exactly where you were going, knowing your mindset. using an NPC that is forcibly tagging along to actually make someone be less effective. Oh my God, Dave, that's evil.
And they're super nice, and like they'll heal your wounds and try and help you, but they're just trying to convince you the right way. And then you have to figure out how to get rid of that and undo it, or maybe you're just going to murder hobo. I don't know, but this passive as paladin is really hard to flip without being like, the only other way is like he is allied to someone you are against, and that's the only thing you can really think of for this one, unfortunately.
So what do you guys think? What is your opinions of these cool new paladin options? Are you using them in your game? Got any cool stories you want to share yet? It's a great place to continue that conversation. It's down in the comments below. While you're down there, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
You can check us out over on Facebook.
So until next time,
stay nerdy.